All right, Tuesday evening. I'm here. Nick's here. Eric's here. The chat room is here somewhere. It's time for Attack of the Androids. That's right. attackoftheandroids.com/live. Got an IRC chat room there on Freenode. Pound AOTA. Just pound it. Okay. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Centuries, we've been warned about little green men.
Now, they are coming. They're coming for you. Prepare for the attack of the android.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Thursday, April 9th, 2015. This is episode 154 of Attack of the Androids. Every week, Thursday evenings now. attackoftheandroids.com. Check it out. I'm Matt Lee. That guy right there, his name's Eric. What's up, Eric?
Matt, nothing. I forgot my lower third. I'm embarrassed for myself and my family, so sorry.
Hey, not really your fault, bud. Hangouts, just kind of taking little dumps here and there. That's fine. We moved the show to Thursdays because we realized code commits were happening on Tuesdays during our show, and it was just effing all of our stuff up. So here we are Thursday. I feel like maybe somebody there at the mothership is just not happy with us for some of our ideas, perhaps our open ideas that we have. Maybe they don't appreciate such openness, and they maybe changed code commit days to Thursday. So. What do you do? What do you do? Who's excited for the M9 Plus? Is this a plus or is it the M9
it's a plus? It's definitely a better version of the M9, but unfortunately, it's for China only right now.
What?
Maybe indefinitely. Yeah.
What?
So it has all the features the M9 should have had, like a quad HD screen and a touch sensor, stuff like that. And it doesn't. So yeah.
Why? Do we know
no
why?
one knows.
Does anybody know why?
No one knows why. It's
Google it.
It sounds like
no
Yeah.
answer.
It sounds like it has a lot of potential, but unfortunately, that potential doesn't seem to be making its way outside of China. So, and actually, one of the interesting things I think about this is like the reaction to this announcement that HTC made has been pretty excitable. I don't think anyone in the States is happy that this is not even, it's not even coming to like Europe or like other European countries or other Asian countries outside of China apparently. So I don't know.
Is that the move? Is that the like beta only and you get an invite but you don't type of thing? Or I mean, it is a Taiwanese company if I'm correct, right? So just batting one out of the park for the home team, I guess, and the rest.
What I've been trying to think of is, maybe they did intend on releasing it in the States as well, in Europe, etc. But I mean, the fact that they didn't, and they put it in China. They released the M9, I think 6 weeks ago. So 6 weeks later, they're now announcing the M9 Plus, but in not nearly as many markets, and actually completely different markets, because the M9 is not coming to China as far as I know, or it's not been announced for China that I'm aware of. So, yeah, it's kind of perplexing. But I was watching YouTube today, and John Rettinger of Techno Buffalo, he basically he used to have like a Rettinger's rants, and then he just changed it over to Risk because he didn't want to just do negative videos, and then he basically went back to Rettinger's rants over this and spent about 6 minutes on his YouTube channel just really going nuts on HTC, and it was the first time I've heard him use not just one but multiple expletives in what is otherwise a family-friendly YouTube channel, and it was but it kind of echoed the sentiment that I've been saying all over Google Plus and on other YouTube channels. Why is HTC not? Why do they not announce this as the new HTC One M9? And instead.
Is it a carrier thing or a chipset thing? Like, why? That is weird. Like, if you're gonna make it, you might as well just open it up to all the markets, right? Like, why would you make it and then just be like, but only, like, are you soak testing? Are you just trying it out? Like,
I do think
China's a large market to test out in, right?
Yeah.
If you're that.
Well, I do think HTC, they're going to have to explain this at some point, because just announcing an M9 Plus, a much better version of the M9, and not explaining why they're doing it this way, something's going to happen. But the two significant things that are different about this that may not be better are A, the processor, or the SoC, essentially. It's like a MediaTek chip. It's very similar in specs, 64-bit. They're going to have 3 gigs of RAM with it, and it's octa-core CPU. It's got to run at the same speed as a Qualcomm 810. Maybe it's cooler, but maybe it's less performing. I don't know. So that's an answer we'll have to see through real-world testing and benchmarks. And I can't remember the other thing, but there were 2 things that may not be better, but everything else is identical or better, such as the screen. So, and that's the biggest thing. It's a little bit larger screen. It's 5.2 inches as opposed to 5.0, but it's Quad HD as opposed to 1080p. So
the specs are nice, definitely. I'm kind of looking through on blog.htc.com. All the comments there are just like, thanks for not releasing this in North America and making my decision with the Galaxy S6 that much easier. So long, HTC. Like, just angry people.
Yeah, and the thing is, anyone could just Google phone arena and then M9 versus M9 Plus and look at the comparison between these two, and there's practically nowhere where you can look at where the M9 Plus is worse in any category except for maybe the SoC.
Did the OG M9 have the fingerprint scanner, or is that something?
No, that's something brand new. Yeah, that was the other thing significant.
Right,
yeah, there's a fingerprint scanner down there. Now keep in mind, they're still going to have software keys, but they'll have that fingerprint scanner. And the only previous time that I know of that HTC has had a fingerprint scanner on one of their phones was for the M7 Plus, the original one Plus, and that was on the back. But that was actually a square design, similar to what their camera actually looks like. So, anyways, it's kind of weird.
So one thing, because when I see MediaTek, I'm not exactly thinking,
performance,
the best
fast
processor.
Yeah.
But if you look at the HTC blog, you scroll through the comments, somebody has linked to it looks like a Polish blog where they're talking about the processor. What is it? The Snapdragon 810 that's in the HTC M9, the regular one,
and the LG G Flex.
Yeah, and they describe it as problematic. And if you go through this blog post, this person is going pretty in depth, looking at ADB, at time and state, and like looking at how the system on a chip manages each of the different cores. And this person's theory seems to be that the 810 has problems, and that is why that's why they switched to the MediaTek. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I think even a problematic. My gut tells me even a problematic. Qualcomm is better than a MediaTek.
Well, let me just say this. There's a YouTube channel called TechSource, and I'll try to link it below after the episode. But basically, they did a YouTube video where they're comparing the M9 and the M8, last year's processor, and the benchmarks were only slightly faster, essentially, for the newer, hotter ACC M9. But all the real-world tests were significantly faster for the M8, not the M9. You wouldn't think that a phone that's a year older would perform most of its tasks significantly or noticeably faster than the brand new phone, and sure enough, it showed a huge difference. Like the score was something like 13-2 or 13-3 for the M8 in all the tests this guy did on a 7 or 8 minute long YouTube video, if I remember correctly. It was pretty significant. The only test noticeably better for the M9 was like the benchmarks. And instead of like a 40,000 score, it was like a 48,000 score. So it wasn't like a significantly better benchmark for a 1 year newer phone.
Yeah, I don't know. This sounds like the more that I read about the M9, it sounds like it's not I don't know. We're not going to see a successful launch of this product. Samsung is getting a lot better press for the S6, and I think there's just better choices out there, and HTC might have missed it on this one.
I feel like the more I read, like their response, like the HTC social team mentions it, and I've seen it mentioned a couple times. I feel like it is maybe due to radios and chipsets and all of that working together to provide an experience. Because what they say here is, we have no plans to release this in North America or Europe. We believe our flagship HTC One M9 is the best choice for these areas due to its fast performance, sound, network compatibility across the broadest range of operators. So if you take that into consideration, it looks like fully optimized this thing from chipset to radios to process, everything pretty much to function on that specific network, which makes sense now, I guess, because if you think about it, there's one to deal with rather than if you do it in America you have to deal with 2 or 3, in Europe you have to deal with 2 or 3. Like China isn't just one, like China Telecom or whatever for mobile, or do they have different like GSM and CDMA providers with different radios and antennas and everything?
I'm not knowledgeable on China's network, but as I understand it, many countries, many countries like that, they sort of skipped over the older networks. They got in the game late, but they can allocate more bandwidth to relatively high-end, infrastructure. But what I have to say here is they could still release this in the United States and make it with the same SoC, etc., that the M9 not Plus edition has. But it's just weird that they didn't release it with it, or there's no announcement that it'll come, to our market or the European market or other markets anytime soon, if ever. So they can make an ultra version, as well. I don't know.
Right. So, did you want to mention the camera or anything before we move on?
It's the same camera, but what I'm seeing recently is there's been an update that should be coming out tomorrow on some carriers, and that's being announced and being sent to some sites like Fandroid, for example, who linked an article where Derek Ross linked an article on that website basically stating, hey, the camera update has occurred for the HTC M9 and it does significantly improve things. And that's actually been one of the biggest downsides to the new M9 is that the camera quality, despite having a 19 megapixel camera, hasn't been able to show any better, if not at any better performance than the old 4 megapixel camera on the M8. So
interesting. Watches? You want to talk about watches? Possible iOS compatibility for Android Wear coming at some point. I'm not into watches, so this doesn't really. I'm not into watches, and I'm even less into iOS. So this is pretty much like whatever. But interesting that they are working hard to get it cross-platform functioning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Go for it, Eric.
They're close, allegedly.
Allegedly, I think it's important. And I mean, the fact that it didn't, like, I believe we had a story a few weeks ago that somebody sort of like hacked their own version of making this work. So the complexity level here is probably not that deep. But it's important, I think, for Google to do this early, especially now that the Apple Watch has launched. If you can show like people that have an iPhone but may not be 100% invested in the Apple ecosystem yet, that there are other choices out there, other cheaper choices as well. Maybe they take a big chunk out of the Apple Watch market before it even begins.
Well, what they can do is what they've done well with Android, and do it with Android Wear is just make a lot of options available and let the consumer decide on what they want. If they want a round watch, they want a square watch, they want something with gold on it, or whatever. They have a lot more options, buying from the gamut of Android Wear watches. So,
you know what I want? You guys ever remember the movie Phantasm? It was that old horror movie? You had the little ball that floated. I want to watch that's that.
Floating,
just following me
wants
around.
little balls on his arm.
I just want to follow around. little demonic.
Or
Satan's
wait, on your arm or floating?
no floating, just followed
Oh,
around.
like in
Just
this area.
hanging out, and then like I look at you and I'm like, and then they go kill you.
Yeah. Okay, Devil Watch, kill him. Yeah.
Okay, Google, watch. Murder this asshole.
I find it interesting though too. Like if you if Google can pull this off, the reception of the Apple Watch.
Hold on.
If they can do it,
Why
like
do you
if
say
it doesn't suck, I think they can make it happen. But if
Pebble
it's
made it
good,
happen, right? Pebble is a watch, and it's there, right? It works.
yeah,
It still doesn't work as well, but that's due to Apple's limitations on that platform. But
Guys, yeah.
at least it could be better than not having one at all. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
Is that enough to make someone switch? OS loyalty?
Probably not, but if they can afford a $250 smartwatch as opposed to a $400 or $500 smartwatch, that might make a decision for them.
Good point. The price sets the standard, right?
it's been funny watching The Verge's coverage this week. They have like 3 articles out, and one of the articles was literally just an article talking about how every review that they've read of the Apple Watch has the statement in there that it's, quote, not for everyone, which I thought was pretty funny. And then if you read Nilay Patel's, quote, definitive review of the Apple Watch, it's at the very end he says that it's like the best watch ever. It's the best watch ever, and out of all of the smartwatches, it is the best. But if you actually read his review, it's very lukewarm. He talks a lot about how he doesn't like things and how it's not as mature as either Pebble or Android Wear.
Yeah, horrible battery life, bad performance, and at the very end, one of the bullet points is it's the nicest smartwatch out there. It's like I don't understand, and it gets a 7.0 rating.
I feel like at this point, those companies are just completely effing off and being like, watch this, all right, complete not. I feel like they've gotten to such a point where everyone just blindly trusts whatever they write. And they joke about this on Twitter. Like, they'll go back and forth and write an article about a tweet making fun of some, it's almost like a dumb game now. It's like we've risen to this point of amazingness and we get paid bank, and now people will buy whatever we tell them to. So watch this. I'm going to say it sucks in the review, and then at the end of it, I'm going to say it's the best.
Because no
one cares.
Well, I think that The Verge specifically is up its own ass. Like if you watch any like interviews with people like Nilay Patel, and I'm not picking on Nilay Patel, but it's very easy to point to his interviews where he talks about how The Verge is, they're not a technology journalism, they're they're lifestyle.
We're a life journal, bro. We're a life journal.
Yeah, and that's what this is. This is like the circle jerk that is The Verge and Apple. He's not.
We should be fair and say it is all major tech are like sites.
Yeah.
In various ways, yes.
It's
but
just
this is
the
pretty
Verge,
egregious.
Yeah,
because
Verge
they've all been doing it for so long. They're just over it, and they're making money off their name. So whatever they write, it doesn't matter. Like they're to that point. It's funny watching it happen as someone that also writes, but not for any of these publications.
Yeah, well, the issue here is like The Verge is so prototypical in this kind of behavior. It's like they're so abashedly pro-Apple. Like every one of their high-profile Android reviews are like, well, it's the best Apple, it's the best Android phone, but they never say it's a good phone or it's the best phone or whatever. So like that. So like that's how they approach the S6, But they're just falling all over themselves regarding the Apple, ecosystem, the Apple phone, the Apple tablet, all that kind of stuff. Mashable does the same thing. They have these glowing reviews over these phones that they're just falling over just to give their impressions and stuff like that. And it doesn't seem remotely like fair and balanced. It just seems highly biased, and it's noticeable. You can watch these videos, read these articles, and it's so obvious that they're couching everything they do towards Apple. So.
And MB in the chat has a good point. He says, who cares about The Verge? And that is, who cares, right? But people look at those and they make real life decisions based on what they read from sites like that. So
Yeah.
Well, I will say one good thing that The Verge did about these watches this week, though, is there's actually a really nice comparison of Apple Watch, Android Wear, and Pebble, and it goes through sort of different sections, like price, compares them on platform, compares them on style, and I thought that was actually pretty good. If you want somebody to see, if you want to show somebody just like a very simple, you know not spec by spec, but like category by category comparison of the different watches out there, it's not a bad article at all.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess for people like me and a lot of others that talk about this particular issue is like, if you watch an Android podcast or an Apple podcast, you're obviously watching something that is, by its very nature, biased towards the audience that they're serving. Whereas you go to something like The Verge, and there's nothing that outwardly indicates, oh, we're a pro-Apple side or we're whatever, and yet it becomes evident with their interviews, their articles, their behavior, what they say in social media, and it's these flippant comments they make. They think no one notices, like they're smarter than everyone else, and who can't.
We notice. That's right. We notice.
Yeah. But I mean, they have iVerge is a name that's crept up over the last couple years for The Verge. Mashable, some people have called them iMash, and you can continue on to Engadget and other sites like that. You just put a little I in front of their name, and oh yeah, now I realize that they're a predominantly pro-Apple site.
Nick, that is so 2004. We're not using the I moniker anymore. We're just going to call it the Apple Verge and the Apple Engadget.
There we go.
Let's talk about something that I know is close to MB's heart here in the chat. The Wiener Party, that is Game of Thrones, coming to Amazon. Telltale. Just banging out the classics. Just riding on in whatever's popular. Is this any good? I'm not really having enough time to play games at this point, but I hope to get back into wasting my time playing games sometime soon.
When he's not playing with his dabs.
That's right. Well, I'm not taking dabs. I'm playing video games.
So the story for the Amazon part of it, at least, is that something that on the Google Play Store is $4.99 is now free on Amazon. So you can get that first taste, the first episode, and then if you like it, 25% off the season pass, as Telltale is as they are wont to do.
Now, will this game ruin the movie or the show that is going to ruin the books that was ruined by this guy that wrote them, or like how you feel like this is going to go down? We're going to have an onslaught of angry nerds in wintertime.
No, not at all.
For Winterfell.
The storyline here is that this has been out for a couple months. I have it. I have the game. I haven't played it yet. I've watched the intro video for it. It's like a separate story that's not in the books. It has. It's focusing on if you've never watched Game of Thrones, like you have these various families that are all vying for power in some way, and it introduces a new family that's not in the books or the TV show. So you're sort of following them, but then you see the normal cast of characters throughout.
I like the first comments. I always feel dirty when I open the Amazon App Store. And then the second one's, damn it, I'm not going to have to install the Amazon App Store again. Oh, Amazon App Store just not getting no love. I don't have it installed either, but...
Well, the cool thing about this is that if you have a Fire TV, you can do this with Nexus Play or anything too, but if you have a Fire TV, you can play it. You can play it on the Fire TV, so it's like somebody like Nick who's really into the ecosystem, maybe you don't have to feel dirty and install the App Store. You can just do it on the Fire TV, which already has it on there.
Nice workaround. Damn, you were like troubleshooting in real time. That was good. I was impressed to watch happen.
I think all this stuff is happening though because I know. Do you not watch the Game of the Thrones?
I
Or
did.
Dragons and Boobies, as I like to call it.
I did. No, I was all caught up in everything, and then I just
Then life happened.
I don't know. Then I
Well,
lost my 30 megabit cable connection, and that was the end
Ooh.
of torrenting as I know it. No, I don't have time to watch TV anymore. Sorry.
Well, for those of us who make time for such things,
Giant wiener party, and I do agree with that,
we
as South
please.
Park said.
Well, it's starting up in a few days, so Wiener Party will be available on your Android device because HBO is coming to Sling TV, just mere days before the launch of Game of Thrones season 5.
What? Damn.
Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, it's not going to be as cheap as your torrenting. You have the Sling TV $20 subscription price, and then $15 for HBO.
Is that a month or a year?
That's a month, my friend.
What? No way. Can't do it. That's ridiculous. For one thing? Come on. For one thing? Really?
Well, it's HBO style. I mean, ideally, yes. For the one thing, it would be $4.99, maybe $9.99.
Can I get the Tracy Ullman show on there? They have old reruns of that.
Well, that's the thing. They don't because that's the difference between HBO and HBO Go. So HBO Go is what we saw at the Apple event, where they said that it's where it's going to be, without a cable subscription. That is, because you can still get HBO Go on Android devices if you have a cable subscription with HBO. But if you want the cord cutter version, you can only get that on Apple currently. And that gives you access to the archive of old shows, whereas this is just like having an HBO subscription with like some DVR capabilities. Yeah.
Nice.
But I mean, it's what people have been asking for. It's HBO without a cable subscription.
Yeah, that is kind of.
But it's. Yeah, I don't know. This is the thing that people forget, that all this like a la carte stuff. If you want one or two stuffs, it's okay. But if you want lots of stuffs, or if you want premium stuffs, it's not cheaper. It's probably as expensive.
I've been programmed to pay no more than $8 a month for all of the things that a service offers. Started out with Netflix, right? And then it went on to Google Play Music All Access, right? Now my $100 a year Amazon Prime, which I gotta tell you, not thrilled with the way they do that. Here, you can watch a season of this, and then you can pay us for the rest of it. How about you take it out of the $100 a year I give you, and just give me all of the stuff? Seems silly. I don't get why not, but I mean I do. It's money, obviously.
Well, you may not like it, but
no, and I won't use
Amazon,
it. So there.
Well, but if people do like it, now they can at least get the Amazon Prime Video on their tablet. Don't need a Roku or anything like that. You don't need a Fire device anymore. So now, if you just want to watch Amazon Prime Instant Video, you can download the video app. How many years has that been in the wings?
You don't need to go to the settings and turn it to Flash from Silverlight and then Chromecast it that way in a tab. That actually worked pretty good. I mean, it worked. Like, it didn't lag or anything, but probably not ideal. So
the chat room has corrected me that HBO Go is different from HBO Now.
Ooh. So these are two services you can now pay them for.
So now there's 3 services.
How much? What's that going to set a fella back if I want all 3 of those services? What are we talking here? $100?
That doesn't make sense. I would like to pay for the same thing 3 times.
I'm pretty sure we're all getting trolled.
I think the service is called HBO No.
HBO nah.
The W is silent.
Right. All right. This is kind of cool. ZDNet article: a case to keep Android and Chrome OS separate. I feel like personally, because I use Android, I also have Chromebook. I don't think it's going to work as well unless it's like an ARM Chromebook, perhaps, because ARM is what the Android apps run on, maybe. My x86 Intel Chromebook won't run them as well, but who knows? We'll see when it actually works. It seems silly not to like go ahead and just do it, right? I mean, it's not going to break anything.
Yeah, developers have to port their apps, their Android apps, to work in Chrome, and I don't think this is necessarily a merger. It's just you're in Chrome, and hey, you can now use Android apps in either a tablet or phone factor, and you can actually do that. There's a hack to do that in Windows, where you from your Windows PC can through Chrome and another tool I can't remember offhand, basically just launch a phone or tablet Android app. You have to import the APK, but you can run it, and it's early beta or early alpha days, I guess, at this point. So, but I don't personally see a problem. I haven't read the article yet myself, but I'm now intrigued.
I don't agree with. They're like the simplicity makes Chrome OS run efficiently on cheap hardware without distractions, as is often the case on other OSs. He says Android is the opposite. The great functionality of the platform comes at a cost of complexity. So are you saying that people just won't? It's like too complex. Like, man, this Android thing.
Well, it's not going to be mainstream for a while. I would guess at least a year, if not more. But likely the functionality will be worked on between now and then. But if you want complexity, there's Windows and there's Linux, and to a much lesser extent, Mac OS. So, and Chrome is still a lot more simple than even Mac OS. So, just adding the ability to run Android apps in a little window or something like that, I don't believe dilutes or pollutes Chrome OS. Me personally, and I of course own.
Well, and what about the security argument, saying that Chromebooks are secure, Chrome OS is secure, but Android, there's accounts of malware all the time. Eric, yeah. I'm getting a face that's just like, say something.
I think this guy's making an argument against something that was never going to happen.
I think so too.
It's sort of is this a straw man argument? I've never understood what that phrase meant.
Ooh, a logical fallacy. Ooh, which one is this? Maybe MB, since he's such a
fact check it.
Maybe you can fast track it there in the chat. Which logical fallacy is this writer making?
It's not nothing against him, because I think that he's working off of information that's been sort of sprinkled out there. But I think it's more. It's not that they're going to be the same thing. It's that there's going to be a lot of crossover between the two. I think that you can have a completely separate Chrome OS and then have something like Arc Welder, which is a little Dalvik VM that runs Android apps.
Yeah, that's the program I couldn't remember offhand. And really, these two logical fallacies are confused a lot because they are somewhat similar. A red herring is basically an argument against, it's a distracting argument. It's arguing something else, not the main issue. And a straw man is usually something that's easily, defeated, basically. So, and there's some collusion between the two. But I haven't read the article, so I couldn't tell you which one it is. But I will say that just adding a feature to run Android apps is probably not going to be a problem, particularly because it would be through Google. You would have this Google Play Store or the Google Chrome App Store, and you could download these and use it that way. It'd be the same thing with Android and Chrome OS now. Do you load something on the side, and potentially, have a security issue with your system that way, or you just download it from the store of choice, and it's no more an issue than anything else. So
I feel like you have maybe even more security issues in the extension Chrome, like all the different, there's so many you can install, and it's just like apps on Android, except you don't have to sideload them like you do on Android.
Yeah.
And I feel like they don't get caught as quick. I don't know. Maybe I just was looking at a time when there was a bunch. I don't really use a bunch of Chrome apps on my Chromebook, but it seemed like there was a lot of like very shady extensions that would redirect you to ad sites and all this crap.
Yeah. Well, the review system is pretty good in Chrome OS, and I've used it for a while. I think 2.5 years at this point, or 2 years. And what I tend to do is I tend to only get apps that are reviewed well and where there's many users using them, and pretty much like anything else. But like anything else, the ecosystem will grow, but injecting Android into Chrome OS will make it grow much better because there's hundreds of times more Android apps out there, even good ones compared to good Chrome OS apps, and it'd be nice to see that door open for Chrome OS.
And MB in the chat says it's a red straw herring, so thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good fact checking. Let's see, YouTube coming out possibly soon with an ad-free paid service. Now, I know that this is probably happening because I got a letter in the email box saying that, hey, pretty soon, instead of having ads on your thing, we can also open up this revenue stream for you, and people will pay each month, and then they can see your stuff ad-free. Yay!
Yeah,
I don't put ads in my stuff because there's a terrible, shitty model, and I am so sick of seeing ads on crappy, half-assed content. Like, I'm not gonna put. It's not worth it. What you get, unless you make a bot that redirects you to 1 billion different IPs, then you can rack up a little change. It's not worth it, man. I will straight up not even watch something if there's an ad right there. I'll be like, you know what? I don't even want to watch that now.
That's why Matt doesn't watch TV anymore.
Right. Too many ads. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Not gonna do it.
Yeah, I do have to say, one of the pros for this, now I don't know all the details mainly because they haven't said much, but one of the pros is that the YouTube partners will get a chunk of that revenue stream. 55% of the earnings will go, from the paid service will go to the YouTube partners. Now I don't know how that'll work with the.
We'll go to like 3 YouTube partners. The rest of y'all can fight over the scraps.
Yeah, you have to re-sign the new agreement, with YouTube as a YouTube partner, and who knows what that'll entail. And I don't know if this is an opt-in service. I don't know if, as a YouTube partner, you must also pay for this service to be, I don't know how all that's going to work. It's something that hopefully that YouTube will reveal sooner or later. But the thing about YouTube is, they didn't make money last year. They didn't make money the year before. Google paid over $1 billion for it, so they're trying to make money through the platform somehow. It's grown tremendously, but it hasn't sustained a profit. And so I totally understand YouTube's need for doing this, but the market will determine whether or not this endeavor is even going to succeed or not. It may fail. I mean, I was watching Craighead Pro, I think that's the YouTube channel's name, and he was basically revealing that about 1/8 of all of his viewers actually see the ads, that the majority of the people, his viewers, are using something like AdBlock, and they never see the ads. Therefore, that view or whatever never contributes to his earnings. So he only makes a small fraction of money out of the potential number of people.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because that model sucks. How about we just all agree to not do that anymore and find a better way to make money?
This seems to make sense to me, though. Like, if you think about how many podcasts are going to something like Patreon and just asking
ads ever that I
What's
have
that?
to get up. I have to get up from my seat, walk over to where my phone is, and fast forward your shitty ad every 18 minutes. It's so annoying.
Well, no, this is the point, though, is that rather than you can make ad-free content,
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So this makes sense to me because now Google's cutting out the middleman. A lot of these podcasts, I mean, including our own, are telling people hey, go subscribe in YouTube, to get the content weekly. You could just say subscribe, and if you don't want ads, why don't you support us? And the ads go away. You don't have to have a separate site. It condenses it all in one place. The more we talk about it, the more it seems to make sense to me.
Are we monetizing the attack of the androids with ads?
I think, oddly enough, I'm not sure that Hangouts actually earned money. I've never been able to tell that. I'm trying to think if I've seen an ad on an actual Hangout video. Maybe so, and I just don't remember.
Tell you what, we'll enable it on ours and just crank out the ads, and we'll see how much people enjoy it, and then we'll see.
Speaking of which,
how much
Matt,
big money.
This is brought by Audible.com.
Brought to you by Carbonite.com. Don't be a retard.
Go to meeting.
Right? I can't even tell you. The Dollar Shave Club. For all you hairy nerds out there. Oh, God. You know what? I hope it buys you a college fund and a retirement fund. Your 18 cents a.
Hope it buys you happiness.
I hope it buys you happiness. Xiaomi looking at a pretty super sweet business model, dumping 2.1 million smartphones in 12 hours. That's a Guinness World Record, apparently. All the smartphones.
Yeah, it's amazing that that's actually powered them to success. I mean, like 3-4 years ago, they weren't around, or maybe they sold their first phone about 3 years ago, and they sold it just
Hugo,
like this.
man, right? It's Hugo. They have this festival, and they sell all these phones at their own festival. Like, that's crazy.
They drive up in their minivan, just selling phones left and right.
12
I guess.
hours. 2.12 million smartphones.
And guess what? Nobody outside of China cares. So,
Good.
Congrats, you did it.
MB has a good point going back to the YouTube ad thing. What is better, ads before the video or during the show? Well, that depends. Do you want to turn it off at the beginning or in the middle? Like,
As long as you can skip it. If your
Better for
video is,
whom?
yeah. I feel like breaking up the discuss, and maybe it's just the way podcasters edit them in, or they get auto edited in or something, but it always just completely is not in a good spot. I mean, obviously Twit, like, they are the masters of shilling for ads, but like all these other podcasts that just do like little Audible ads and Adam and Eve ads and stuff, like it seems like they didn't change up their show format to accommodate for ads, so they just like stop and then like abrupt cut to this ad all of a sudden. It's very jarring when you're in the groove of a discussion, you know. That's I guess I like Duncan Trussell's format better on his shows because he does all of his ads right at the beginning, and I just fast forward right the F through all of them. It's like 20 minutes of just hitting the fast forward button. But then you have people like Leo at Twit that do them interspersed in the show. So then you have to fast forward every 15 minutes.
Bother you? Like, I mean, do you
It does.
care
It does.
that much?
It bothers me a lot, Eric. Advertising is bullshit, and it was made to control stupid people like you. Yes, I'm sorry for that. No, it does. It bugs me a lot. It's such a shitty, worthless thing that we could all do without in society, and it's like such a lucrative. I'm hating on it.
Well, it is the way that content gets paid for. So, you know, if I'm totally cool with supporting, like, using my dollars to support, you know, shows that I like that don't have ads, but most people aren't, because most people are, you know, cheap assholes. So,
most people don't have extra dollars.
and they don't have extra dollars. So, should they not have access to, you know, content? You know, just because
So if
you
they
want to
don't
be
have
ad-free?
extra dollars, are they buying the shitty shit you talk about on your show, or are they just fast forwarding through it? If we're all just fast forwarding through it, you might as well just not even do it.
Most people aren't fast forwarding through it, though. I don't think.
Really? You guys
You
are
know, when it's
actually
done
listening
right.
to the same Audible, Carbonite, Adam and Eve, the same ads over and over again throughout your 8-hour day. For real?
I'm afraid to Google this Adam and Eve thing. What the hell is that?
A lot of shows have Adam and Eve ads. It's a porn store. You never heard a show that doesn't add? Like, I listen to like 8 shows that all have the same thing, and they all have their little promo codes. And it's listen to the story.
Dude, how the hell are we getting a porn ad thing in our show? Come on.
we're apparently watching all the wrong shows, Eric.
I know.
What
What, Eric? What kind of podcast do you listen to, dude?
was that on Game of Thrones?
For your next Wiener Party, brought to you by Adam and Eve. Use promo code Wiener Party at
right.
checkout.
Do you watch Game of Thrones alone?
Maybe if you shaved with the Dollar Shave Club, you wouldn't have to watch Game of Thrones alone.
There it is.
Me and my clean-shaven bros, it's like nothing more than to get together on a Friday night and have a giant slippery wiener party.
I've got nothing.
What has happened?
Back to you, Eric.
Well, speaking of which, on Android, Yeah, I've no way to transition out of this. What do you want to talk about, Postal or Google for meetings?
Ooh, Postal. What happened there? Just a little too much? A little. The rating system just wasn't large enough to encompass where Postal went?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, this game's old. This game is old. This is like damn near
Postal
going on
2 is
20 years old.
Postal 3 is really old.
It's like Crazy Taxi old.
Do they make those still for the PC? Like, is there a current version of Postal using the newest engines and all that stuff, or is it?
There was Postal 1 and 2, and
Right.
this is Postal 1, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, apparently, like people can't handle so much gratuitous violence because Amazon and Google have taken it upon themselves to protect us and not allow this app into either store.
Well, I'll say this. There are a lot of games out there like this that just aren't explicit with it. Like, you can buy any of those open world type games or like Avengers or whatever, or like Hulk games, and you're the Hulk running around the city, but no one plays these Hulk games and just save citizens. They're basically bashing the crap out of the entire city because they're the Hulk. But a game like Postal, you do the same thing, but it's explicitly written into the plot that you're doing the same thing, therefore it gets censored. But anyone that plays, Skyrim, Oblivion, or any other sort of open world game, they're not just saving little old ladies crossing the road or saving the blacksmith,
The Wiener Party.
or saving innocent virgin
Wiener
Wiener Party. I don't know.
And you've lost a wagon wheel crossing the fjord.
Well, I mean, look at the graphics on this thing. Look at the screenshots. For Christ's sake, I could be doing this with G.I. Joes. To call this gratuitous violence is just Google and Amazon, perpetuating this, that they nanny state mentality that they have to protect us. Protect everybody from the gratuitous violence because maybe something bad might happen.
What else are we not getting that we don't know about?
Well, they took out porn, didn't they?
Was there ever? Why are you going there for porn?
Back to Adam and Eve.
Like porn apps?
Yes. You could be getting your porn from Adam and Eve.
Like Craigslist and Tinder or what?
I like this. I don't want to play this game, but it pisses me off that it's not available. I think that it's really stupid that Google, we have Grand Theft Auto in the Google Play Store, for fuck's sake.
3 and 4.
I mean, I can get with a hooker and then
I haven't wanted
beat the shit out of her and steal her money, but I can't play Postal.
I haven't wanted to play this game since like the late 90s, dude.
Yeah.
Looking at this though, now I kind of want to again.
Yeah, well, there's a market, and it's a niche market. The older remaking
So, hold on.
games like that, like Crazy Taxi.
Alcohol, tobacco, and drugs is one of their guidelines here. You have apps like Weedly and All Buds and stuff like that are just weed related. Like, that's okay?
I don't know. I think we have to look.
This is kind of gratuitous.
It's I mean, it's pixels.
It's no more gratuitous than half of the movies that they allow on Play, right? I mean, so why this? I wonder if somebody has a beef with somebody who made
Someone
Postal.
might have complained, maybe. Maybe it was on. Was it available before and they just stopped it, or was it going to be released and they prevented it?
Maybe I'll just have to sideload it. So there.
Yep. All your viruses, one place.
That's right.
Well, I mean, it could be
Store.
the maker of this game. They might have open their own store on their site to sell their own games as an alternative. So
Maybe Cyanogen will embrace them. No, do you think was it actually an official release? Like, who did Postal? I can't even remember.
couldn't tell you.
Like Submarine Studios or something.
I'm not even sure the team that made Postal 2 was the same ones that made Postal, and they were out several years apart.
It seems official.
Running with
official
Scissors?
enough.
2K Games, was it them? I'll have to
Running
look.
with Scissors. It's the developers. Postal 3? What? And Postal Babes? What? Postal Babes, a mobile game developed for running with scissors by HeroCraft. Though part of the Postal series of games, the plot of Postal Babes has nothing to do with the storyline that follows the Postal Dude. Huh. Did you ever play Postal Babes? Can I screen share this with you guys? You should really look for it. Check this out. Boom. Postal Babes. Huh? Huh? Yeah. And there was a Postal 3 in 2011.
Really? Oh, and it was made by Running with Scissors, the same company.
Huh. Steam gave it a 6 out of 10. Metacritic, a 1 out of 5. Oh, goodness. All
I
right.
remember Postal 2 as an Unreal Engine game, but I couldn't remember the other two.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Censorship.
Postal Babes.
Postal Babes.
I feel like that's not even really like a phrase that's in the lexicon used that much anymore. Like, do people go postal still? When's the last time you've gone postal, Eric?
I mean, it's been at least 99. I think The Matrix came out the last time I went postal.
The last time I went postal, Matrix 3 came out. I was like so angry. No, he's not Jesus. What the f... All right. Is there anything else? What are we doing here?
I don't know.
You got any other Android news? The meeting platform Google's working on? What's this? It's called Hangouts. Maybe you've heard of it.
Look at the supposed logo.
Ooh, G Meet. It's where my G's meet. I like that. It's where we meet before we go postal. Hell yeah.
Is it a G-Meet party?
It is a G. Ain't no party like a G Meet party. Because the G Meet party don't stop till it crashes. And then,
I mean, it looks like it's going to be based on Hangout technology, but the thing that I'm interested in is it going to be like hosted on a server? Like, can you have the software in your corporation? You have G-Meet servers, or is it going to be all hosted by Google? Because if it is, I'm not sure how it's going to differentiate itself from just the Hangouts or Hangouts for business, platforms. So.
Yeah,
Well,
just
maybe that's
more
it.
like security enterprise focused, right? You deploy it to a server or your Google Apps account for your domain or something like that, maybe. It's interesting, though. There was a Google Plus post by someone named Florian. He says, Google Meetings is coming. Login currently appears to be limited to Googlers, so it's only possible for Googlers to create events. It's possible to join as a guest, though, given you have an event code or know one of the participants. And also there's a supporting Google Chrome extension. They say it's not clear yet whether this will become a business, consumer product, or whether it will be a public-facing management tool for Googlers to create events and invite external people. That'd be a weird thing to create just to do that. You just use Hangouts and Calendar if you really, like why would you make a thing just to...
Well,
Yeah,
that's what
I
this
don't know.
seems
That's
like.
cool.
It's the convergence of the two. Because wouldn't it be easier for us to do the show if you could embed like the Hangout in the invite, so we get the calendar notification and just say, "Okay, join."
Well, I'll tell you, Eric, it sure would run a lot smoother if we could deploy it to our server.
Yeah.
I would
Or
imagine.
maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it would just crash our server and all of our websites. Who knows?
Yeah, folks, just so you know, like for the past 3 shows at least, we always have problems in pre-show with Hangouts.
Yeah.
Like this thing is just taking a dump all over our chests every week.
It was the best when I went to start it and Hangouts just came back with an error. It was like, I can't do that, Matt. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, huh. And then I tried it again and then it just froze the window. I was like, huh. And then I killed it and tried it again and it froze the window again. I was like, huh. So then I had to kill everything with the word Chrome in it. Just gone. Done.
Say, come on, Hangouts, I want a podcast. I can't do that. I'm
can't.
sorry.
Yeah.
Do
I'm
that.
sorry, Dave.
I'm sorry,
should-
you guys. You're
please
just not
reboot.
as funny as you used to be, guys.
Really? Where's that Shane guy? Why isn't he here?
You guys, your audio quality just isn't where it used to be.
Control D.
Control D. Awesome. All right. Well, that's cool. It'll be some more fun Fun stuff to play with. Will it kill Hangouts? Voice? Mm-hmm. Maybe bring in Wave back? Embed Wave into that thing?
You can only hope.
One can only hope. All right. We should mention we've got a little Vault Press article about how AOTA and all of our other sites that we host use Vault Press, and a recent incident. Well, not really incident, just moving servers. Sometimes things just don't work right. I'll tell you what, though, that's a pretty sweet thing to use. Vault Presses.
So what does it do?
It backs up like all of your WordPress stuff, databases, media, like posts, everything, but better than what the WordPress does. And it makes multiple snapshots each day.
Cool.
So in the case of a site that might get itself infected with malware, you can pick the last best backup, and you can choose through multiple ones a day. So you can really, and I've actually had to do this once before, you can get right in on like this hour, this backup is completely fine. The one right after it, completely not fine. So, and then you can, you can rebuild. It'll do through SSH or SCP or FTP or SFTP. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. I'll tell you what, made my life way easier. So
I like it.
VaultPress, if you run WordPress stuff, you should definitely be checking that out. Did we just do an ad? That's weird because I pay for VaultPress like every month.
I think they won
I feel like
this
we're
time.
I know. And there's like enough sites too. It's like getting to be a big chunk. It's like $5 a month per site, but man, it's like getting to be $40-50 a month now. They all come out at once. I'm like, that was my lunch money. Shit.
That's right.
So
eat your dabs.
All right. Eat my dabs. Nick, you got any videos? Anything you want to mention before we wrap this up?
Yeah, on my YouTube channel, I just purchased and received my tablet case from Moco, and it's for my Nexus 9. I have one for my Nexus 7 as well that I've been using for 2.5 years. It's been working great. So I basically did an unboxing of this, and I actually really like it. It holds it onto it really tight, and I'm probably going to do a quick review over the weekend on this to kind of describe it. But it's like a $13 case that is pretty premium, looks pretty good, and I use it as a stand. Like I take classes Monday and Wednesday night, and I basically watch videos using it. So highly enjoying this so far using my Nexus 9 tablet. And the other thing is I did a re-unboxing of my camera, and then I finally got the mount that I'm going to put in my car. So I'm hoping I can produce more content for my channel using this in the future. So that's kind of what's going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say then I reboxed it and sent it back.
Reboxed it for the second time.
Reboxed it and
No,
then.
it looks like this. It looks like this camera is more reliable. So like it doesn't make noises whenever I film with it. So that's something the original one did. That this
Isn't it cool? And it'll work with something not HTC, right? Or is it still only HTC? It does, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can use it with any Android device. Like I have the app on both my Nexus 9 tablet as well as my Nexus 5 phone, so that works great. I didn't expect it to work on a tablet, especially a 4:3 aspect ratio tablet, but the app looks just fine and runs just fine on it. So it's pretty cool.
I still kind of want one. Still having a hard time paying that much for one though.
Yeah, it comes with an 8 GB SD card, but I put a 32 gig card in it, one that I had lying around from my old Motorola Atrix too. So it's pretty cool. Not bad for $100.
Nice. Eric, you wanna tell people the email address or something? You want to do something?
I don't know. I'm just so excited. Our email address is show@attackoftheandroids.com.
That's a good email address. I like that one. I got a bunch of
spam.
I got some weed reviews. If you guys are into that sort of thing, I was probably not the show to mention that on, but hey, stuffstonerslike.com. Did some strawberry haze, some fruity pebbles, some train wreck, all sorts of fun stuff. Making fun videos. If you want to just watch me smoke weed with cool music behind it, it's all right there. Got a new one coming up.
Does Fruity Pebbles actually taste like Fruity Pebbles, or is it just fruity?
No, it's got some like more fruity terpenes in it. It's not like the cereal, but perhaps one day we can actually. I have one of these, and the flavor was thin mint, and I never had that before, I gotta tell you, these guys are onto something.
This is starting to get weird.
Thin mint. What flavor dabs would you like, Eric? Thin mint.
We have Samoas. We have.
We have all the goods.
Yeah, I've got a couple friends that are into birthday cake. I didn't realize there was a birthday cake option.
Birthday cake, bubble gum. I mean, anything you can think of.
We can cookie dough.
Right. So check out those reviews and the stuff. If you're into weed stuff, check out stuffstunnerslike.com. Cool site. And check out thejamhole.com, another little comedy show we're doing. Got a new episode up because BJ's here now. She's also in the latest weed review for the Zombie Stomp once that comes out. So, yeah, thanks for watching Attack of the Androids, attackoftheandroids.com. Subscribe in iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio even, right? Google+, Facebook, Twitter, all that. So, and we'll catch you next week probably. Have a great evening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.